Hey fans, this is Steve Wilson, the man behind Kongo Kong. You listening to the Tapped Out Wrestling Network.
Hello and welcome once again to the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, the Global Force Wrestling Edition. I am your host, Lewis Carlin, and we are part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. It's always fun to be here each and every week, going over the weekly happenings in Global Force Wrestling, the Impact Show, which of course airs every Thursday. So it's again always great to be here. We're going to go over some Global Force Wrestling this week. This week's show had a lot of good things. I thought it was a better show than last week. A few things that little question mark went off in my head. Like, what are they doing? I'm not quite following this here. But we'll get into everything. We'll get lots of really, really good matches. But again, a couple of things that making me think. Like, what are they doing, or why are they doing this? So, like I said, we'll get into everything as we go along. Some Global Force Wrestling news. In case you haven't heard, I'm sure you have already. Davey Richards has left Global Force Wrestling. No, the people out there saying, "Oh, there goes another Global Force, another wrestler leaving Global Force Wrestling. Well, it's a sinking ship." Blah blah blah. It's nothing to do with that. He left because he decided that he wants to become a doctor, and I wish Davey Richards I wish him good luck and lots of success. Dr. Davey Richards. That's what he wants to be. I'm not sure what kind of doctor he wants to be, but just Dr. Davey Richards. It sounds pretty good. So wish him the best of luck in his pursuit of becoming a doctor. Maybe he could come back. Maybe he could come back and he could be a doctor persona one day. He could be Dr. Davey Richards against Isaac Yankem or something like that. A doctor versus dentist. They could have a scalpel versus a electric toothbrush match or something. Something of that nature. But in all seriousness, though, again, good luck, Davey Richards, and wish you the best of luck in becoming a doctor. And also Magnus. Magnus is no longer with Global Force Wrestling. Not really a big deal. I mean, they really haven't been using him at all lately, so it's not really going to affect them at all. Apparently, they offered him a contract that he said wasn't worth signing. And hey, that's every person's prerogative. If they get something and they don't feel it's going to benefit them, by all means, move on. And I'm sure he'll be fine. He'll find a lot of work. He's a very talented wrestler. Again, it wasn't being used that much in Global Force Wrestling anyway, so it's not really a big hit. So, again, good luck to Magnus in the future. I'm sure he'll be booked. I'm sure he's booked already. I don't think there's a 90-day wait period he has to go through with Global Force Wrestling. But good luck. Good luck, Dave Richards. Good luck, Magnus. Thank you for everything you've done for Global Force Wrestling. You're going to be missed, man. Yeah. Okay, I just wanted to get that. Just wanted to go over those two. And again, anyone out there is thinking, "Oh, there's a sinking ship because of these two departures." Please, save it for somebody who cares. It's not a sinking ship. And I pointed that out many times. And I know there's going to be a lot of people out there that are going to be thinking, "Oh, Davey Richards and Magnus, who's next?" But it's not like that at all. So just get over that. Global Force Wrestling is putting out very, very good shows these days. And I hope you're taking my 4-week challenge, which I laid down 2 weeks ago. So if you are, I'm sure you're a full-fledged fan of Global Force Wrestling by now. So this weekend actually, I got back. I had a long working week. I worked about 60-something hours this week. Drive this truck, and it was a long week. And I finally got home. Yesterday, and I decided, you know what, I deserve a few beers. So I went out and I was looking for a good beer to bring home, and I saw this beer called Fruly, Now, I don't know if anybody's familiar with Fruly, but it's a strawberry beer. And I was like, that's interesting. It's made in Belgium. I believe it's a wheat beer or a white beer, but it's infused with pure strawberry juice. And I'm salivating right now thinking about it. But it's like, yeah. So I'm gonna go out and I'm gonna give Fruly a chance and see how it goes. So I was a little nervous about bringing it up to the cashier because it's called Fruly, and it's not the most it's not the most masculine name for a beer. So here comes Lewis Carlin with a 4-pack of Fruly. So I thought maybe they might chuckle a little bit, but who cares? I want to try the beer. So but nobody laughed at me. I guess they understood. Fruly. Everybody's buying it. There wasn't many left on the shelf, so it must be a popular beer. So I brought it home and I tried it, and it was phenomenal. It was fantastic. It was absolutely. It was refreshing. It was delicious. And I am now a full-fledged fan of Fruly beer. Fruli, Fruly. So if you could get your hands on it, here in Canada you can get it at the in Ontario, the LCBO or the beer store. Not sure where else you could get it. I don't know. I'm not sure we can get it in the States. But keep your eyes out for it. Fruly, Fruli, made in Belgium. Strawberry beer. It's fantastic. I wonder if I know this is a Global Force Wrestling show, but I also have my Ring of Honor show. I wonder how the Beer City Bruiser would like strawberry beer. I'm gonna ask him on that one. But it was fantastic. Delicious beer. Again, if you're looking for a good beer, a good refreshing beer, Fruly, strawberry beer. It's not high in alcohol either, so you're not gonna really get too intoxicated. It's like 4% alcohol. It's kind of like drinking a wine cooler or a wine spritzer, but really, really good. Highly recommended. I have 2 bottles left, so probably going to knock them off today. And so there you go. Fruly beer. Go out and give it a shot. So we had our Global Force Wrestling episode this week. Like I said, there were some really good matches. The opening match was really good, actually. On paper, if you just see, it was Eli Drake, Chris Adonis, and EC3 against Moose, Eddie Edwards, and Naomichi Marufuji. Now, the Orlando Mayor was doing the announcing. Buddy, I didn't write his name down, Buddy something. But he did the announcing for the match. He wasn't the best announcer, and I'm kind of glad it was only the first match. Because he wasn't the best announcer. He's no rock star Spud, that's for sure. But it was just the first match, thankfully. And, so it was actually a very, very, very good match. Solid opener. And it wasn't like this 3-4 minute match. It was a decently long match. Lots of action. We found out that Marufuji can really kick the crap out of people. He's got some really, really nice kicks. Nice little back roundhouse kicks he was exhibiting in the match, which was really good. And Eli Drake and Moose and EC3, they're all legitimate superstars, and as is Eddie Edwards. And then you got Chris Adonis, I guess you have to throw him in these because he's with Eli Drake, so he has to be involved in the match. A little random pairing. I know EC3 and Moose are involved in that feud. Involved in a feud. So it was a little random, EC3, Chris Adonis, Edwards, and Marufuji thrown together in there. But the match ended. EC3 actually low-blowed Moose, and he hit Moose with what he's calling his new move, the ECD, which is the EC driver. So it was kind of like Christopher Daniels' Angel Wings move, but it was the EC3 won to keep that feud going. And again, a very solid match to opening. I'm glad that they opened with a match, and very, very solid one. Big fan of the match. The Ethan Carter driver, I guess, is his new finishing move. He had the 1%er. I'm sure he'll still use that. But got the Ethan Carter driver. Looks like it's going to be his new finishing move, and definitely sets up EC3 versus Moose for the grand title which should be coming up. Actually, I think it's actually next week. Next week they announced EC3 versus Moose, so that should be another potentially terrific match, which we'll see on Global Force Wrestling. So definitely something to look forward to. And then we had after the match we had Mackenzie Mitchell. She's just randomly standing there. There was nobody there for her to interview. She's just talking, and then she looks over to the left and she sees that gentleman that we've seen for the past few weeks doing squat thrusts, and we find out that his name is Richard Justice, and he's warming up just in case he's needed. He's a standby wrestler, and Mackenzie Mitchell says, that's the most dumbest thing, or something like, I've never heard of any such thing as a standby wrestler. If Mackenzie Mitchell's never heard of a standby wrestler, or if she thinks that's the stupidest thing she's ever heard, then maybe they have the wrong person doing the interviews, because standby wrestlers are a thing, man. They've been a thing for a while. There are standby wrestlers. There are alternate wrestlers that are at shows. So it's not a dumb thing. It's a thing. So I'm not sure why she would say something like that. Because I remember being at going back like to ECW. I mean, if a wrestler didn't show up, they had a standby wrestler would come out and would participate in the match. So there are standby wrestlers, Mackenzie Mitchell. It's not the dumbest thing you've ever heard. But I'm not sure where they're going with this Richard Justice character. I would imagine we're going to see him maybe for a few more weeks, and then they're going to need a standby wrestler, and lo and behold, Richard Justice will be ready, and he will come out, and he will be that standby wrestler. And he's not the most in shape wrestler. He's very kind of out of shape, I guess you could say, but he'll be ready out, and I have a feeling that he's going to have to make his debut against somebody like Kongo Kong and just get totally destroyed. Either that, or he's going to have to make his debut against someone like Chris Adonis or something, and Chris Adonis will be laughing at him. And Richard Justice will steal a victory or something. But sure, we're going to see him in the ring sooner or later. Richard Justice, the Global Force Wrestling standby wrestler. I guess we could watch for him soon in a Global Force Wrestling ring. I can't wait for the video package that they put together for Richard Justice. So yeah, so I guess I don't know how I feel about that, but hey, Richard Justice. I mean, we'll see. I mean, the guy needs work. He's a standby wrestler. I'm sure we're going to see him sooner or later. Then we saw a video package for the OVE, which is Dave and Jake Christ. Looking forward to them. I know they've been in ROH. And they're stars on the independent scene, so I'm looking forward to them. It's kind of a dark video. I kind of got a feeling that they may be trying to get their own Sanity faction, or Sanity type faction, because that's what I kind of was thinking about. I was like, I was thinking, are they trying to be Sanity? Who are in NXT right now, but we'll see. I don't want to pass judgment yet. It was just a quick video clip, so we'll wait for them. I'm looking forward to their debut, and before I pass judgment, before I say are they the next Sanity, I will wait for their debut and see how it goes. I was just thinking initially, my initial thoughts were, wow, this could be the next Sanity. This could be Sanity in Global Force Wrestling. That was my initial thought, but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Again, not going to pass judgment. Then we find out that later on in the evening, the main event is going to be Alberto El Patron against LAX in a gauntlet match. LAX, Homicide, Santana, and Ortiz in the gauntlet match. So that was announced. Had some mixed feelings about that when they announced it. Because again, there's really nobody in LAX that's a legitimate threat to El Patron. But maybe if they're doing a gauntlet match, we have three members of LAX against one. It had potential, so I was like, okay, we'll see what happens. I'll wait for the main event, and I waited for the main event, and the main event happened. Alberto El Patron against LAX in the gauntlet match, and my opinion of it, it was absolutely terrible. I didn't like it at all. El Patron absolutely just destroyed them, ran right through them. He beat Homicide. I think he suplexed Homicide. Homicide was just lying there. El Patron climbed to the top rope. He hit a weak splash, and he pinned Homicide in like 20 seconds. Looked really bad. Then next was Ortiz was in. He defeated Ortiz rather easily. Santana came in. He basically was destroying Santana. Got him in the cross arm breaker, and then the rest of LAX jumped in and got disqualified, and they beat down Ortiz. They beat down Patron, and El Patron's brother came out, and his father came out, Dos Caras, and then finally the Veterans of War came out. Mayweather, they came out. Jax. I was trying to think of the other guy's name. Mayweather and no, that's Jax Dane. What's the? I see they haven't seen him in so long. I can't remember that. It's Mayweather and whatever the other guy's name is. I'll call him Jax Dane or. That's gonna bug me now. It's gonna bug me now. So, Veterans of Wilcox. Sorry, I just put it on pause for a second because it was kind of bugging me that it's early in the morning and so it's Mayweather and Wilcox. So it's early in the morning. I apologize. I'm still waking up, so I couldn't remember the guy's name. So yeah, Veterans of War came out. Mayweather and Wilcox. They came out and they made the save and they brawled with LAX. So I guess that kind of made sense because Veterans of War, and Santana and Ortiz could potentially feud for the tag team titles, which I hope happens because the tag team division is really non-existent, as I pointed out the last few weeks, because of this El Patron LAX feud. So I hope Veterans of War and Santana and Ortiz have a little feud for the tag team titles and get that tag team division going again. But then if they do that, there's really nobody else in LAX that's really going to be able to legitimately give El Patron a challenge for the world title. It's not going to be Conan. So as I pointed out again last week, they have to bring somebody else in. They have to bring in a hired gun because Patron ran right through them. I know he's a Global Force champion, but they did weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks of building up LAX, and El Patron just ran right through them like they were nothing. So I kind of dropped them down a notch. So they got to bring somebody in. They got to bring a hired gunner, so to speak, in, or maybe two or three more members of LAX to feud with El Patron. Like I said last week, Ricky Banderas, bring him in as Mil Muertes. That would be a terrific opponent for El Patron. And so I'm not really I'm not a fan of the El Patron LAX feud. This match wasn't good at all, the Gauntlet match, and I'm just not a fan of it. I kind of wish that they would concentrate more on Bobby Lashley and Patron, with Lashley trying to get his rematch. Kind of wish they were concentrating on that as a feud, and LAX staying in the tag team division. But or even Eli Drake, somebody. But not really a fan anymore of this El Patron LAX feud. So I hope they could bring somebody else in to liven it up a bit, because right now it's kind of fizzling out. So again, Ricky Banderas would be fantastic as Mil Muertes. They have the working agreements with AAA and of course with Crash in Mexico. So they could bring some more people in, some more legitimate threats to El Patron. And we did hear Rey Mysterio's name again mentioned. It wasn't during this match, but it was mentioned during another match, which was Trevor Lee taking on Octagon Cito, which I will get into shortly. So that's another hint that, hey, Rey Mysterio's name was dropped like 4 weeks in a row now on Global Force Wrestling. So we could, I know he's in negotiations right now to come into Global Force Wrestling. So hopefully they could work something out, that he could come into Global Force Wrestling, and that would be a nice little addition to that feud. Like I said, he could be the new guy in LAX, or he could. I don't think El Patron. I don't think El Patron really needs any help, in his feud with LAX, because he, like I said a few times, he ran right through them and made them look like garbage. So we'll see what happens. Maybe Mysterio will come in and he won't even have anything to do with the feud. But I also heard, just to switch gears, that they're also negotiating with Jack Swagger. So that could be another interesting addition to Global Force Wrestling. Maybe they could bring both of them in, and Rey Mysterio could feud with Jack Swagger. Who knows? But still, interesting potential signings there for Global Force Wrestling, and I'm really hoping that they do bring in Rey Mysterio. That would be fantastic. Even if it's short term, it doesn't have to be a long term deal. Just to get him into Global Force Wrestling would really, boost things, boost things ratings wise for Global Force Wrestling. It would make it a better product as well. So let's hope that they get Rey Mysterio and Jack Swagger, for that matter, into Global Force Wrestling. And I know I mentioned they had you had Trevor Lee and Octagon Cito. Now Trevor Lee is still in possession of the X Division title, and I'm getting a little tired of this angle as well, because nobody's really doing anything about it. He's coming out with the X Division title, says he has an opponent, the best high flyer from Mexico, and he calls out the mini Octagon Cito, who we've seen in the past few weeks is very impressive, but he came out, but I don't know, Trevor Lee kind of made him look like a bit of a joke by calling him out and saying, "Oh, I'm going to take on a mini." So I don't know. I kind of got the feeling that Trevor Lee was, trying to be funny, trying to make Octagon Cito into a joke. But he's not a joke, Octagon Cito. Octagon Cito is a very, very talented wrestler, and that's just what he is. I am not looking at him as a mini or a smaller guy. He's a wrestler. He's a very, very talented wrestler. And I think if Trevor Lee and Octagon Cito had a real match, because this wasn't really a real match, I think it could be a really, really good match. But this was like a 1 minute, ridiculous, meaningless, nothing match, just to have Trevor Lee come out with the title around his waist, and Octagon Cito got a few moves in, and Trevor Lee said, "Oh, I've had enough," and leaves. And he gets counted out. And then Sonjay Dutt comes out again, trying to claim again what's rightfully his, the X Division title. But he's held back by security, and Bruce Pritchard comes out and says, "Get him out of here." It just, it doesn't make any sense to me at all why they're doing that. And you want to say Bruce Pritchard is becoming a heel. I don't think he's becoming I don't know if he's really becoming a heel, because, and as I'm going to talk about it next, Bobby Lashley wants a title shot, but Bruce Pritchard's not really, is tired of hearing Bobby Lashley as well. So, and Bobby Lashley's a heel, so I don't know. This whole thing is kind of stupid, to ask me. If you ask me, just why can't they just even Barash and Matthews are saying, why can't they just take the title back from Trevor Lee and give it back to Sonjay Dutt? It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all to me. I would much rather have them just give the title back and book a match. Trevor Lee, you're going to get your rematch. That's what you want. That's why he stole the title in the first place, because he didn't get his rematch. Get the title back from Trevor Lee, give it back to Sonjay Dutt, and book a match at Destination X. Sonjay Dutt taking on Trevor Lee with the X Division title on the line. Because right now you're not really seeing Sonjay Dutt in action. You're just seeing Sonjay Dutt running to the ring, but he's being held back. So fans are kind of losing focus on Sonjay Dutt, the X Division champion. But we're seeing Trevor Lee now every week, and there's nothing wrong with that. I love Trevor Lee, but this whole angle with sealing the title and preventing Sonjay Dutt from trying to get his title back and nobody doing anything about it, it's run its course. Enough's enough. Let's get the title back. Give it back to Sonjay Dutt. Book the match at Destination X. Trevor Lee gets a title shot, which is why he stole the title in the first place, against Sonjay Dutt. The winner is the X Division champion. And that's that. And speaking of Bruce Pritchard, I heard that there might be a little power struggle between him and Dutch Mantel, and I kind of hope that doesn't happen, because they've run the power struggle angle so many times in back when it was TNA and Impact and Global Force Wrestling. Well, I just hope they don't do it. I just hope they don't do a power struggle angle between Pritchard and Mantel, because that could be must-miss TV, if you ask me. So I'm definitely not for that at all. So, sticking with Bruce Pritchard, Bobby Lashley comes out. He calls out Bruce Pritchard. And he wants a shot at the title. Bruce Pritchard comes out and says he's tired of hearing wrestlers week after week asking for title shots, and that he thought he made himself clear last week. But as he's talking, he said he thought he addressed it last week, and then Matt Sydal comes out, and there's no entrance music, and the crowd isn't going wild or anything at the emergence of Matt Sydal. So he comes into the ring, and he says that he remembers what Bobby Lashley did to him last week, and he's not going to be ignored. And again, the crowd is quiet. The crowd's not, rallying behind Sydal. But then Lashley shoves Sydal, shoves him down, and he goes for a spear, but Sydal catches him with a knee, climbs up to the top rope, and hits a shooting star press in front of a quiet crowd. The crowd still just not into this segment for some reason. I don't know if they were tired or something, but I don't think that they were into other segments, but they just weren't into this for some reason. And so he hits a shooting star press, and then Sydal's music plays, and he celebrates for a bit, and then you see Bruce Pritchard whispering something to Tyrus, who's still his bodyguard for some reason. And we find out that Bruce Pritchard makes a match at Destination X. It's going to be Bobby Lashley against Matt Sydal, and the winner is going to get a title match of their choosing. Now, Bobby Lashley wants a shot at the world title, and Matt Sydal said that he wants a shot at the X Division title. Now, if Matt Sydal does win the match, would it make more sense for him just to ask for a world title shot instead of a X Division shot? And does this match really make sense? I'm all for the little guy standing up to the big bully, which is basically kind of the angle here that's being run. Bobby Lashley being the bully, and Matt Sydal is the little X Division wrestler who's standing up to him. But I don't know. They really need to rebuild this X Division, and after it was not existent in the Dixie Carter era, basically. So they really need to build up this X Division again. And first of all, the whole Trevor Lee angle with him stealing the title is not helping. And I don't know if this Matt Sydal versus Bobby Lashley match is going to help the X Division at all either. Couldn't they just have done couldn't they have just done a number one contenders match? Bobby Lashley against, say, Eli Drake, I think Eli Drake and Bobby Lashley would have a good program together. And for the X Division title, have Matt Sydal have a tournament. Well, you have the Super X tournament. The winner of the Super X tournament could be the number one contender for the X Division title. But I know you want to get Matt Sydal into the picture, which, by the way, makes me wonder why Matt Sydal is not involved in the Super X tournament. He would have been an ideal entrant. But anyway, I just can't change the past now. What's done is done. But I don't know, maybe have him take on another X Division wrestler, or have like a fatal 4-way or something, or have a Super X match or something. I don't know. I just know how I feel about Bobby Lashley against Matt Sydal, and the winner gets the title match of their choosing, because Bobby Lashley is not going to ask for an X Division title match, and why would Sydal, if he does happen to win, choose an X Division title match over a world title match? So again, I don't know. I wish they did it differently. Sydal against somebody like Desmond Xavier or Andrew Everett. No, Matt Sydal against Xavier and Everett in a 3-way match. The winner gets a shot at the X Division title, and Bobby Lashley against Eli Drake at Destination X, with the winner getting a shot at the world title, which would make more sense to me, and I would be a lot more interested in. But unfortunately, Bruce Pritchard booked the match. Sydal against Bobby Lashley. The winner gets a shot at the title of their choosing. So we'll see what happens with that. So we'll move on from here, and we'll talk about the Super X Cup match, which was Davey Richards versus Taiji Ishimori, who is the GHC Junior Heavyweight Champion for Pro Wrestling Noah. And first off, I'm glad we didn't see Angelina Love come down, and have a little kissing fest with Davey Richards. I'm glad they left her out of it. I was a little worried about that they were going to have her come out and we're going to see them kissing and whatever. But I'm glad they left her out, and what a match between Richards and Ishimori. They paired up well together. It was a terrific, solid match with lots of near falls. I love Ishimori. He really came off well in this match, as did Davey Richards. Ishimori, he did win the match. He was definitely the right guy to go over, in my opinion, as it sets up him versus ACH, which should be a phenomenal match. But again, good competitive match between very, 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 very talented wrestlers. And I mean, if this was the finals of the tournament, this would have been a fantastic match. It would have been a fantastic final. But as it stands right now, it's going to be ACH versus Ishimori, and Drago versus Desmond Xavier. I'm saying it's going to come down to Drago against Ishimori in the finals, which should be a phenomenal match for the Super X Cup tournament. And I think the winner should definitely get an X Division title match against whoever the X Division champion is. Who knows? Maybe they'll just write off Sonjay Dutt, and they'll just write in Trevor Lee as the X Division champion, and it'll be like Sonjay Dutt never existed as X Division champion. And I mean, that's almost as dumb as what they're doing right now, in my opinion. But anyway, enough of that. Enough of talking about the X Division title. We've already went over that, and I don't want to get all riled up again. But again, solid match, Davey Richards against Ishimori. I'm looking forward to the next two matches, and the finals will be at Destination X. I'm calling again Drago against Ishimori, which should be a fantastic match. As long as Drago doesn't try to lick Ishimori with that huge jelly tongue that he has, the match should be that match should be phenomenal. But I could be wrong. It could be ACH against Desmond Xavier, and there's nothing wrong with that. I think whatever the final match is going to be, it's going to be a phenomenal match because you got 4 terrific wrestlers left, and whatever the match is, whatever the pairing is in the final, it's going to be a fantastic match, and it's definitely something to look forward to. Definitely something to look forward to in Global Force Wrestling. We also had the last knockout standing match for the Global Force Wrestling Unified Women's Championship. It was the Unified Champion, Sienna, taking on Rosemary, and it was another solid match. Good brawl between the two. Both gave very, 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 very strong efforts, and thoroughly enjoyed the match. I love Rosemary. Rosemary's terrific. She had a terrific tarantula she put on Sienna while they were outside the ring on a chain link fence. So she locked on the tarantula on the chain link fence that was in the impact zone, and it came off really, really well. I really liked that spot. Really liked Rosemary a lot. She did wind up losing the match to Sienna. KM tried to get involved. Rosemary hit him in the face with some mist, but Sienna hit her over the head with a garbage can. Rosemary fell through a table to the outside and couldn't get up at the count of 10. And Sienna retained her unified Global Force Wrestling Unified Women's Championship. And again, very, very good match. Rosemary is very, very talented. Very, very talented. She seems to shine in these types of matches, which she did here. The only thing is, she was going to go for a coast to coast. And if you don't know what coast to coast is, if you've seen Rob Van Dam, he'll have somebody in the corner and he'll put the garbage can in front of them, and he'll go to the other corner and he'll leap off and he'll hit the garbage can into the person. Now she was going to go. Rosemary was going to go for a coast to coast, but the only problem is, and because she had to go through the table, with the way where the table was set up and where Sienna was positioned, the corner she was positioned in with the garbage can. Rosemary went up to the corner, and it wasn't the corner that she was supposed to be using for the coast to coast. But Josh Matthews kind of, he kind of sold it. Oh, she's going for the coast to coast. But if she actually went for the coast to coast from the corner that she was climbing up on, all she would have done was hit the garbage can, and the garbage can would have went flying across the ring and probably outside of the ring. It wouldn't have gone into Sienna at all. It wouldn't even touch Sienna. So she was really on the wrong corner for the coast to coast. But I understand. The way the table was set up, she had to go through it, so she had to climb up on that corner, and she went through that table pretty hard actually. But so again, she thrives in those kinds of matches, and solid effort from both wrestlers. They're really making Sienna into a dominant champion. I guess I don't know really what's next for her. I guess Gail Kim would be the logical choice, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. I hope it's not Karen Jarrett. I hope Karen Jarrett just doesn't decide that, hey, I'm going to jump in the ring and I'm going to take on Sienna, because I know they've had their differences. But definitely the next logical choice would be Gail Kim. So we'll see where it goes from there. I guess Christina Von Eerie, who originally lost the Global Force Women's title to Sienna weeks and weeks ago, is completely out of the picture, and I guess we'll never see her get her rematch. Maybe she'll show up and she'll just steal the title, and her and Trevor Lee, they could form a little faction called the title stealing thieves. Is what they could call themselves. Where they go around and they steal titles and not give them back, and because they know it'll be okay with Bruce Pritchard, nobody's going to try to get the titles back for them anyway. So maybe they can do something along those lines. The title stealing thieves, Trevor Lee and Christina Von Eerie. But anyway, okay. So from there we what else do we have going on? I think I covered basically everything. Oh yeah, we had one more thing to go over. That was the Joseph Park, Grado, Laurel Van Ness angle that's going on. So Grado came out. Well, we saw little vignettes that were filmed prior to him coming out. Joseph Park saying, you got to wear this. You got to wear this. It looks good. All the boys are wearing it on Grindr. Wear it before you ask the big question. So we find out that Grado is wearing this really ugly orange tuxedo. Calls out Laurel Van Ness, and he pops the question. He says, "Will you marry me?" And we don't really hear the answer. But this brings out Allie. Allie comes out, and she's jumping up and down on the ring apron. Now I don't know. When I was watching it, I had a little interference in my feed on my TV. Cable was having a little interference. So she was jumping up and down, and I couldn't tell if she kind of looked like she was jumping up and down because she was excited that Grado was proposing to Laurel Van Ness, which kind of, I don't know, why would they're feuding with each other. I don't know why she would be excited that Grado is proposing to Laurel Van Ness. But Sutter came out and pulled her away and said, "Let's go, we're getting out of here." And he's wearing all black. And the fans kind of were booing that, get rid of Allie. But I don't know why she came out and she was jumping up and down like she was all excited. Didn't really make much sense there. And but anyway, so before Laurel can answer, Kongo Kong came out, and Joseph Park left the ring, and it looked like Grado was gonna, stand there and fight Kong, but he decided, you know what, nope, I'm not taking on this beast, and he left the ring, and Kongo Kong picked up Van Ness, but then put her back on her feet, and Van Ness was kind of talking to him for a bit, talking to Kongo Kong. Grado and Park had left. They ran up the ring apron. I'm sorry, they ran up the ring ramp, and is this this right now? Is this the best they can do with Kongo Kong? Seriously, this guy is a beast. He's a monster. He's running over the competition. He's a very, very, very talented. And this is the best they could do with Kongo Kong right now. I know this is probably eventually going to lead to Joseph Park going to his brother Chris and getting Abyss, leading to a Kongo Kong versus Abyss matchup. But they need to do more with Kongo Kong. Instead of him just coming out and chasing away Grado and Joseph Park, just I don't know, just they need to do more with him. There's a lot more they could do with Kongo Kong, and they need to do a lot more. He's very, very talented, devastating wrestler. Put him in the ring with William Weeks again. Anything. Just I don't want the fans to forget just how devastating this wrestler is, because he's definitely the Global Force Wrestling resident monster, and they need to do more with him, plain and simple. Bottom line, they need to do a lot more with Kongo Kong than just have him come out for 2 minutes and chase off Grado, which he's been doing for the last about the last 2 times we've seen him. That's all he's been doing. But yeah, the whole segment itself wasn't as good as the other Grado, Joseph Park, Laurel Van Ness segments. So I give it a thumbs down. Wasn't a fan of this segment. But we'll see where it goes. We'll see where it goes from here. And that's it. As I said, next week is going to be EC3 taking on Moose for the Impact grand title. So we'll see that. I wouldn't be surprised if EC3 wins the title. But yeah, so that's definitely something to look forward to for next week on Global Force Wrestling. And that is it for me. I just going to quickly look over everything, make sure I didn't miss anything. Nope, I covered everything. I covered absolutely everything. But before I go, just a quick few things I just want to mention. I should have did this a little earlier, but I guess save the best for last. As I said, this is the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast. We're part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. You can send us an email at tappedoutwrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at tappedoutpod. Follow me on Twitter at PWSOTH. You could go to our website for some terrific podcasts, tappedoutwrestlingpodcast.com. Check out, I recently did an interview with the man behind Kongo Kong, Steve Wilson. So you could check that out. It's on the network now. I also did my interview with Jose Luis Rivera, former WWF star, and also on the network. Lots of interviews with independent wrestlers and legends such as Tommy Wildfire Rich and Ron Fuller. Lots and lots of great stuff. So tappedoutwrestlingpodcast.com. If you're a wrestling fan or an MMA fan, you got to get the Fight app. Lots and lots of great content on there. And if you want a t-shirt, Pro Wrestling Tees, TEES.com. ProWrestlingTees.com. And you can check out kayfabetoday.com as well for terrific written content in the world of professional wrestling. So that's kayfabe.com. And also you can check out my other podcast, which is the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, the Ring of Honor and NXT edition. This week, again, my buddy from Kayfabe Today, Luke Dorsch, he joined me again. We had another great time. We had a terrific time last week, so he joined me again this week, and we had another blast. So that should be out shortly as well, if not already, on the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. So be sure to check that out as well. And that will be it. Actually, I think I forgot, also on Twitter, if you want to, I forgot that, the Pro Wrestling Personified has a Twitter account as well, which is at PW Personified. And you can check us out on Facebook as well, Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast, as well as Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast is on Facebook as well. So check us out. And that will do it for me for this week on the Pro Wrestling Personified Podcast, the Global Force Wrestling Impact Edition. Again, we are part of the Tapped Out Wrestling Podcast Network. I am Lewis Carlin, and I will be back, of course, next week to go over all the Global Force Wrestling action for the week. And until then, take care, so long, stay safe, bye-bye.